This is the Lyndsay Stafford Show.
Welcome back to the Lyndsay Stafford Show. I'm here with my friend Amy Gray today, and we are talking about failures in business. And Amy is a tremendous success, so it's hard to even say the word failure with her, but we're going to talk a little bit about some failures. But I also want you to hear all about her businesses. Amy's the owner of two different businesses. One is called Less, and the other is House of Gray. Amy, thank you for being with me today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So our boys are friends, we're neighbors, and we have yet to actually sit down until today to actually, because we're both so busy as female entrepreneurs, just running our businesses. We've not had a lot of time to sit down and talk. And so I'm excited for you to share with everybody. You have two businesses. Talk to us a little bit about both of them.
So Less is my luxury home organization business. We've been in business for about 6 years now. And right off the bat, we pretty much hit our target market with that business. My background's in marketing, so in business management, and that marketing's always been something that was easy for me. Mm-hmm. So I feel like because we really took off with the right client from the beginning, the business just really grew very, very quickly. And it's really just been referral based. For the past 6 years, we've really never done any like major marketing or anything. And so over time, we just kind of created a name for ourselves with the company. And now we have about 18 contractors that work as organizers and different roles throughout the company. And then through that work with Less, I saw a spot in the market that was missing, and that was the luxury move management niche. I started doing moving as a service that I offered through Less, and it would be perfect as far as organization is concerned. The clients would be thrilled, but they weren't happy with the overall result of the job. Because for maybe the designer went $100,000 over budget, or maybe the movers broke 4 of their televisions, or you really don't ever know.
Right.
There's tons
Moving
of things
is a whole thing.
Yes, it's a whole thing. I just kind of grew obsessed almost with the process of how we can make this better. Actually not be a thing that everyone dreads, And one of the main things that has to happen for that to happen is you have to be working with competent people and competent vendors. And so I thought, what if I could find all those people? What if I could find all the experts within their own lanes? And then we all came together to make this experience, which by the way, can be up to per move, about 25 vendors by the time you do the moving and the organization and the interior design and the window treatments and the fence and the swimming pool. It can go on and on and on. I saw that spot that needed to be filled, and I knew that we could do it if we had the right people in place. So that's where the House of Gray was born, which is a luxury concierge move management business. And I call it, the easiest way to say is we turn a house into a home. It's truly all the things that really set it apart from just it turns it from a structure, which was once just a structure that you bought. 3 months later, with our last client, 3 months later, they walk in, they've got candles lit, their kids' noisemaker is on with lamps, and everything's designed. They open up their cutlery drawer and they've got custom inserts because we've been in there working behind the scenes for months. They're in another state.
Wow.
So they're walking in. It's just, there's no better gift truly than you can give someone than the gift of their home. You get to know the clients on such an intimate level. So it makes it so rewarding, but yeah, that's how the House of Gray was born. I love your story
of how, and I think the same way. This has actually been a theme today. I batch record, as most of my listeners know. I spend a whole day recording in the studio each month, and this has been a theme of finding as an entrepreneur, seeing an opportunity and going, I can fix that. There's a need for that, and that's how everything I've ever done started too. Is like, wait a second, there's a need for that, right? I was doing marketing and advertising. And what I realized is business owners needed a lot more than that. They needed strategy, they needed structure, they needed systems. And so in comes the consulting business to support with those implementation of those things. But I love the vision that you had. Who's your target client? Like talk to me about who finds you and finds that what your services are exactly what they're looking for.
So our target client is it's mainly real estate in the $5 to $10 million range is, kind of our target market.
Sure.
Of course, there's a lot of homes in the $3.5 to $5 million range. And it's someone who's moving to town who has no knowledge of this area or little knowledge of this area. Because I think that's another benefit of our company versus a relocation company that, a lot of people use for athletes, artists, corporate America. They'll use relocation companies to move them here and get them here, but then they get them out of boxes and they're like, now what?
Right.
Like there's a whole lot to do, past that point, and a whole lot of vendors to have.
Oh my gosh. It's such a nightmare.
Manage.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're needing home organization design from the ground up, that's in the targeting, I would say the $3.5 to $10 million range.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you do outside of Middle Tennessee also?
Yes. So most of the time, sometimes we'll do local as well. But so far, because, we're very new, we really just launched this year in March. And so actually launched. So we ended up getting 2 clients before we ever launched. And that was just amazing. The clients are thrilled and happy and referred us to more clients. One of our very first client who I spoke to this morning, and she gave me her blessing to speak in their name, but it was the GM of the Tennessee Titans, which was a huge opportunity to get to know them. And coincidentally, what's so funny about this, my first podcast was with the Tennessee Titans with Jamie Robinson, whose husband was also the GM of the Tennessee Titans.
So
they were
funny.
my first Les clients. So I feel like I'm being primed for this Titans partnership for a very long time. I'm like, Titans are because with all the transitions, I'm like, what a gift would that be to be able to give that to a player and their families? I've always said that, since the beginning. And then my next client after that was the assistant GM of the Titans. And so it was just one of those things where I feel like God has almost just brought these wonderful people as clients into our lives and been able to refer us. It's been such a gift.
Isn't that such a blessing when you start something and you just get this validation as you go and you're like, okay, because it is scary and it's hard. And you are a single mom, 3 teenage boys. I know you have a sophomore, senior.
Yes. So I have a sophomore, a senior, and Tyler just graduated this year.
Where's he going?
So he's going to Columbia State this year.
Smart.
Yes. He's staying close home, and he's saying when Gray moves next year, Gray will go most likely to UT Knoxville. So Tyler is wanting to transfer at that point.
Okay.
Most likely to University of Western Kentucky.
I got to be honest with the Hope Scholarship in Tennessee. I find it almost like mind-boggling that anyone would not take advantage of it.
Yeah. I feel the same, when he was open to that and mentioned it, and he just wants to work a lot and kind of figure some things out. He said, I want to get a really good GPA this first, try to work hard this first year and then, hopefully transfer next year. He just didn't feel like he was, I think, ready this year to leave. And I kind of felt his hesitation and I encouraged that.
Don't go
why
then.
not? And so, so that's what he decided to do.
So I think entrepreneurship is hard. Female entrepreneurs have an extra challenge, and I'm not playing the it's so hard for us, be sad for us. But there's a whole different complexity when you're a female, especially if you are a mom. It's a different set of complexities than a male is going to face. And when you're a single mom, you have all these cards stacked up against you. And you still came out of this. Not only did you have your first business that's still very successful, but built a second business. Talk about some of the failure that had to happen along the way to get there.
Oh my goodness. I have had so many failures. But the beautiful thing about failures is I really do think, it's impossible to grow without failure. And all the failures that I've experienced in my life, the biggest, the most traumatic, the hardest things that have knocked me down, I can truly look back and see the type of woman it was building me into. And it's just, when I can look at it through that lens, like, what a gift. Like, because when I was in it, it didn't feel that way at all. And I can remember like crying to God, like, if another person tells me there's a reason for this, then I just can't say I believe that. And now I do, and I see that. So failure has been a big part of what has gotten me here, 1,000%.
And it's just getting through it and saying, it makes you stronger what is the Megan Maroney song? 6 months later makes you stronger and blonder and hotter.
Yeah.
The girls at the lake.
Love that.
The girls were singing it on the boat at the lake last weekend. And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys are cracking me up.
What
but
doesn't
it's
kill
true.
you makes you, it calls you 6 months later.
Yes.
I love that song.
But it really is. And I think about some of the challenges that we face with naysayers and people that are judging you and they don't know you. And you and I have had some conversations about this. Talk about what you have had to rely on from a skill set perspective and how you've had to grow to work through being able to say you don't define me. Your opinion doesn't define me. This is also a common theme for the last few episodes too.
Yeah. Gosh, I had, some things that happened with my marriage and my ex-husband, and, it was very public, our divorce and the fallout of our family. And it's very easy for people to have outside opinions of what's going on, or they can read something in the paper and think it's true. And unfortunately, anyone can print anything they want to print in anything. And so there is no truth. And, at that time when you're hurting, you're looking for, you're just trying to survive in your own little world, and it's all encompassing. So I think the people that I look back now on the girl I was, or the woman I was then, and I see I'm a completely different version of myself. And it was the naysayer. It was the people who weren't supportive. It was because the beauty in that showed me who I did have, and the friends that supported me and showed up and were the ones that didn't see the Amy, they saw the other side of Amy that's, doesn't feel successful and feels very broken and so they were able to lift me during that time. And it showed me that, those are the people that matter. Like, we have to pour into those people that that are really there for us and love us, because they're here for you no matter if you're at the bottom. They're going to be there with you, and they're going to celebrate with you at the top. And there's a lot of people in between that are just there for the good time. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful evolution over the years to see the people who have always been there and continue to be there. And it helps me to just truly block it all out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm living my life. I'm living in a place of peace. I'm living from a place where I want to surround myself with people who are positive, uplifting, doing good things, want to make things happen. Any of the other stuff is just noise. So I almost try to just create a barricade against that at this point in my life. And we can't do that all the time, but we really can control a lot of, as adults, of who we choose to spend our time with.
Yeah, who we choose to let in, who gets a voice in our life, who gets to influence and impact. And I think that's a skill you have to learn, to be able to block it out.
Yes.
And say, your voice is strong, but it doesn't impact me, or I don't want that in my life. And to go through all that you've been through and be in the place where you have this tremendous success and you have this beautiful family and, all these things that are happening for you, you've had to be able to say, I'm not going to let you guys impact me.
Absolutely. It's a really slippery slope the minute that you let your value lie in the hands of incapable people. If they don't, if they know nothing about you and or your children, or, we all are fighting our own battles, and no one knows what you or your family's been through, or the things. So I think being able to block out that noise, because it is just noise, it's just extra stuff. Just like with Les, I preach over and over about the power of our environment and the simplicity of that our life, how simple our life can really be when we remove the excess. And that means excess, not just in our physical surroundings, but that means excess as far as extra toxicity that's entering our lives through different channels, and a lot of which can be people. And that I look at and have to analyze like I would an item and see if
are they adding value,
are they
or
adding
not?
value, or how do I feel when I'm around them?
Yeah.
Just being more intentional in who I surround myself with.
So funny. It used to be, we were just talking about how there were lots of events in our neighborhood, and really neither of us go to those events. And we've lived in this neighborhood for almost 10 years. You've been here for a few. And 10 years ago, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to meet everybody. I want to go to all the things. I want to see everybody. I want to get to know everyone here. And as I have gotten older, I find myself, and it's not a personal thing about any one person. It's just, I'm so protective of my space, my time, my energy, my resources, that I find myself like, I really just want to be with my core people. And sometimes I have space for other people, but I just want to be with my core people and the people that bring out that peace and joy and happiness in my life. And I think that is a really powerful place to get to, when you can say, I don't need validation from other people, and I don't need time.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful place when it really holds no value. And, like you said, I think it is an acquired skill.
Yeah.
It takes, unfortunately, hardships to get you there, but it does create a stronger resilience against things like that.
Yeah.
It helps you to almost, I guess, diminish the weight of how much that really, it becomes, like I said, just noise.
Yeah.
It doesn't even, that's great you think that.
Yeah.
Because
fine.
yeah, that's great. It doesn't hold any weight, and it's beautiful. We don't have to allow, we can allow that or not. It's a choice.
Yeah, we get to choose that. And I think this is a topic I talked a little bit about with my friend Nate Feathers, who you guys should connect to. By the way, I'll connect you guys. He owns 'Twas the Light Before Christmas, or 'Twas the Light. I forget what it's called. But he does Christmas lights, and he's done my Christmas lights in my house for 8 years, I think. I think it's about 8 years. Anyways, super good guy. And we talked a little bit about this, that as you grow, and I would like to talk through this with you, because you had less, you started that's 6 years old. But this year in 2025, you launched House of Gray. As you grow in your business world, and especially if you're going to own and operate more than one business, you have to let less into your life than you did before, because you just don't have the bandwidth, the space, the processing, the energy, the resources for anything that's not critical. And so you have to go through this list. And when I think about how I spend my time and I calendar plan, I put 6 things. It used to be 5. I added a 6th last year, which is faith, family, fitness, finance, business, and community. Where are those 6 things showing up on my calendar? And when and nowhere on there does it say friends. It's community. That means giving back to the community, being a part of the community, pouring into the community, all of those things. But those, you have to filter down and say, I don't have the space, energy, resources, time for that anymore. And I have to say no to it. And part of that is people, right? So you're kind of taking inventory like you would in a closet of like, do I have space for this? I would like you to talk about your journey of how have you scaled your business, and what have you let go of in order to continue to scale?
When I started less, this is 2019, right before COVID hits, right? We're a service industry. So, but this is at a time when I had no house. I had no income. Were
you going through the divorce at this time?
Yes.
Okay.
And, I guess for listeners with not to air my dirty laundry, but, went through some financial, I guess you would call it just we didn't go bankrupt, but it's a financial.
Divorce is going to drain.
Yes.
Divorce is draining.
Yes, exactly.
In all aspects of
yes.
it. Yeah.
And I think I was in that place where I thought I didn't really know who I was as a brand yet. So the Home Edit came out with their show on Netflix, and it really was great for the industry because a lot of people were like, who are organizers? Like, we know what designers are and we know what roles these people play, but what is an organizer? They just come in and make your stuff pretty.
Yeah.
But it's like so much deeper than that. You know, we go in and we figure out your entire home setup, how things are going to function. Are you left or right-handed? That would dictate which placement we put your spices or your spatulas in the kitchen. And are you left or right-handed for your hangers? Which way do you want, where are you grabbing from? Things like that. It's just so thought through, like a science.
Yeah.
So it goes much further than just the normal, tidying
Make
up
it
your
look pretty.
pantry type thing. Like, that's much more important to me. Function is just as important to me as aesthetic. So I just I'm talking about a brain fart. Sorry.
This is what happens. I think we hit 40 and I'll be like, wait, what was I saying? What was that topic again?
Oh, it always happens to me.
Right, but it didn't happen until I turned, I'll be 43 this month. I think we're the same age.
This year, but honestly, my mom says it's because she thinks I have so much in my brain going on all the time that I just, sometimes you have to take a deep breath and just kind of quiet it, or else I think your brain finally forces you to.
Yeah, you're like wait,
okay,
what?
Where were we again?
So we're talking about scaling the business.
So with the Home Edit, when that came out, like, it was great because everyone kind of learned what organizers do. But as a brand, I didn't really know who I was. So I kind of did what they did. It was like, let me do these cutesy pictures of all of these plastic containers because, and not that it wasn't amazing. I love the Home Edit. I love, I don't know them personally.
My sister actually bought she lives in West Haven, and she bought one of their houses.
Really? I'm sure it's super
the house
cute.
is organized and it's so pretty.
Oh, I bet.
It's beautiful.
They're amazing. From what I follow them on social media, and I'm just, any women in business who have killed it like that, I'm like a huge advocate of, especially within my own industry. I'm like the biggest cheerleader when people, make big moves like that. But I think that kind of evolved over time. And as I started to change and I started to commit myself to really intense therapy every week and finally started putting myself first, my business started to it was light years ahead so I quit drinking June of 2023.
Okay.
So after my divorce, to kind of throw that in there too, that started giving me a lot of clarity.
Yeah.
And exactly, it started there. It started with removing, again, you were talking about things, creating space. So the alcohol, that was one of those things that I was using as a crutch for coping. I was using it as a crutch for a lot of things, to be honest. And I didn't realize how much it impacted my life until I got rid of it. And I didn't get rid of it in a way like this has got to be forever. There wasn't a traumatic event that happened. It was just, I got sick of myself already. It was like, enough with the nonsense here. Like, we got to get clarity on what we're doing next. And when I removed that, it was like a slow unveiling of onion layers that just continued to come off, because it does, just like you said, you lose capacity. The more you grow as a person, the more businesses you have, the more kids you have, you only have so much capacity. And I think being able to define, I guess, as a brand, that kind of changed. So as I kind of evolved as a person, my brand went from that, I'm just going to be like everyone else, to creating my own piece in the puzzle of, this is who I am.
Yeah.
It's not anything what it was 6 years ago. So we just did a brand revamp and everything to kind of reflect that, and kind of, I guess, Les just kind of matured and grew up to when House of Gray came along. It was like, all right, it's time to grow up. We're going to kindergarten now.
Yeah.
You know, like you've been a baby business. It's been amazing, but it's time to, and because it was a natural involvement of myself. So I think in removing the alcohol, removing the toxic people, removing the excess in my own lives, the excess stuff completely gave me the clarity that I needed to be able to turn the brand into an authentic version of who I really am.
I love that. I'm especially interested. I want to talk through when you had the moment of, I'm going to stop consuming alcohol altogether, which there's a lot of conversation about this. And I actually ordered this week, which, you know, what's weird. You have to have an ID to order non-alcoholic wine. Yes. I'm not kidding. So, but I have been like experimenting with, I love wine, but I don't need to have alcohol. I'm fine with non-alcoholic wine. And there's one that's really good called Free, F-R-E. And they have like a Prosecco version that's really good.
Oh, I'm gonna have to try some.
It's very good. And then there's like a Sauvignon Blanc that's good. But anyways, I've been like trying all these, and I still will have a cocktail, but I was like, you know, like you're saying, like, just how do you cut things out that don't give you the space to be your best version, right? And alcohol is a hot topic right now of it being kind of not as widely accepted. The generations are moving to like, maybe that's not something you want to do all the time. And I'm seeing it in the kids. The teenagers are talking about like the negative things about alcohol. And it's like, this is not how we grew up. Like, this is not the environment that we grew up in, right? But I think it's great that we're becoming more aware of what we're putting in our body and our health. And so when you had that moment, was there something specific that changed, or you just said, you know what, I just need to change?
I think it was self-reflection. I think I was so unhappy, to be quite honest. I had to get to a place where I was so broken as a person that it was either I give up, which is not an option. I have 3 beautiful boys who are literally, we got to get this, we got to figure this out. And there just could be no more coping. I couldn't do it anymore. Yeah. It was like, I can't get up another day and just keep fighting through the day to get through the day. Like, that's not living. And so I just started analyzing, taking inventory of like the thing, let's start at the top. Right. What irritates me? Like, what bothers me? Alcohol kept coming up because, you know, some of my worst decisions or the worst things that have come out of my mouth, or, you know, I've looked my worst, have all been because of alcohol. Yeah. Like, why do I keep honoring this thing that just tears me down consistently?
Yeah. It's not my best friend.
It's not my best friend. And, you know, it feels like it's relieving your anxiety in the moment. And I get it. And it's very easy to just have that glass and all your problems can kind of disappear for the moment. But unfortunately, those problems start to stack and stack and stack. And it may be 3 years or maybe 10. But those problems, they're not going to go away on their own.
Right.
All of those things have to be addressed. And that's what I had to do. And I think it gave me that clarity. So then from there, it almost became, my new addiction is not drinking, because now it has no power over me. It doesn't bother me. I'll make my friends drinks.
Yeah.
But now that I've lived without it and I've seen my life change in such beautiful ways, I just don't know why I would ever want to bring that back into my life. But I always give myself permission to, I could be a drinker if I wanted to be. I could go have a drink if I want to. I just have never, I don't see
it's not attractive to you.
It's not.
It's just like one of those things that have become like, why would I do that? Because
it was the worst version of I was the worst version of myself when I did that. So I almost view alcohol now as a dark place for me. So it's not fun anymore.
You associate it with that. You know what I love about, you know, switching to a non-alcoholic wine, which I just call it fake wine. I'm like, I'm going to go get a glass of fake wine. That's what I call it at home. Is the clarity. You are so crystal clear when you are not having alcohol in your life.
It's crazy.
And I'm not trying to say anything negative about it, say it's not okay or, you know, any of that. But what I am saying is that I think there's a healthy boundary, right? And
Absolutely.
so, and sometimes that is, it cannot be in existence, right? There has to be a place of boundaries. But I applaud you so much for not only for doing that, but sharing that, because that's a brave moment to share, right?
Yes.
And it is hard things that we give up as moms, as business owners. We have to say goodbye to things that sometimes are really difficult, and sometimes saying goodbye to people is hard.
Right. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't imagine. I was always such a social drinker. I always had a glass of wine in my hand. Like, it was like a friend to me, and it was more of a security blanket. I mean, it's just like, I couldn't even equate going on vacation and sitting on a boat without a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Like, why? But now I just, like, again, I look at my life feels so much different. And it's like to bring that, what was so dark, back in my life. Not to say it's dark in everyone's lives, because alcohol, again, like I said, I have no problem with people drinking in any way. But in terms of my story and how talking about getting rid of and purging and all the things with people, and that just felt like the right time to share it, because it was a huge defining moment in my life.
And it's so inspirational. I think a lot of people hearing that will give them courage to say, maybe that's something I need to consider also. Yeah. And I think alcohol is one of those things that it can become a really easy, oh, it's happy hour. Oh, it's mom's night out. It's this and that and this and that. And it becomes a habit that you don't even really understand is happening until it's too much of a good thing. And that's not always a good thing.
And when you combine, when you're depending on something like alcohol, that's always going to fail you. I mean, it's got a pretty good success rate of failing us as in the human race. Eventually, like I said, when you're combining it with trying to cope and trying to deal with things, they only stack. And it took life and experience for me to nail that in my head. But, when I eventually got it, it was like, okay, you don't have a place at this table anymore. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We have to break up for now. I don't know. We'll just see. Who knows?
You can stay over there. I might visit you once in a while, but right now we're not friends.
Now we're not friends. Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes saying goodbye to someone or
it's
something
hard.
That's in your life. Yeah. I talk about the social media detox I did for almost 2 years, which is like kind of unbelievable. I was like always on social media. And then just one day was like, it was the Nashville school shooting happened. And then our neighbor's house was shot at. And
I remember that.
And honestly, what it was our neighborhood Facebook page. There were all these nasty comments about the family. You should move. This is not, you should have told. I mean, it was just horrible. And these are really nice people that I was just like, I cannot believe people are talking about people like this, saying things like this on social media. This is so, that morning I was like, I'm done. I'm deleting everything. I'm over it. I'm taking a break. And then our church started doing a social media detox like that Sunday. This was like Saturday that I did this, and like Sunday they started the detox. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is the right timing. But saying goodbye to that, I was able to bring it back in at a very healthy place. My best friend, Christy, she has a business with Bravenly, which is like supplements. And I used all of them and have like an account with her or whatever. I don't know what it's called. Affluent or whatever, influencer or whatever with her. And she's like, oh, do you want to share some things on the Facebook group? And I'm like, yeah, probably not. Like, I'm not going to go on there. I don't go on Facebook and post things.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. Like, that's not going to happen. But you move things from your life, and sometimes they can come back in a healthy manner. And sometimes they don't have a place in your life, and that's okay too. But to grow and go up in business, you have to cut the crap.
You do. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I've realized. I was wishing a lot and dreaming a lot. And I had to analyze my own life and look at it and say, if you're dreaming this and setting these goals, you're getting in your own way here.
Yeah.
So cutting out a lot is necessary.
And I'm guessing with that, you had to also cut out people.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
experiences.
Yes.
And just refocus and reignite this purpose and prioritize what you were going after. And not only did less grow, but you also launched House of Gray then.
Yes.
And I know you said you launched in March, but I'm sure the wheels were in motion for a long time.
For about a year before. Yeah.
Right.
I was, yes.
Yeah.
We just officially like had our first contract. And
so think about that. You let go of that demon that you were like letting in your life. And then all of a sudden within the next 18 months,
the blessings just flow. It gives me chills still to this day.
God is so good. That's so
God
amazing.
Is so good.
Amazing. Amy, you're such a blessing and I'm so grateful to know you. I love what you're able to share with our listeners here and inspire them. Single mom of 3 teenage boys who are all awesome.
They
are. And making it happen. 2 businesses in the based in the Williamson County area. One that's been around for 6 years, another one that is on its way.
Oh yeah.
And it's unbelievable. And sometimes I think we don't stop and celebrate that enough. What we've been able to accomplish, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, sometimes we don't realize like that in and of itself is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
Think about what's already happened, right?
Good job, Amy.
And I hope that listeners who are hearing Amy talk about what she's been through, the walks that she went through to get here are inspired to say, whatever you want to do, you can do it too. You don't have to have a perfectly laid out path. You just have to decide to go for it.
Yes. I love that.
Where can listeners find you? Tell us where to find you.
So our website for Less is www.lessliving.com. And then the House of Gray is the House, HAUS of Gray, GRAY.com. And yeah, I think that,
and you're on Instagram, same
thing. Yeah. Yep. Less is Living and the House of Gray. Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to have you back and hear how House of Gray is doing in a year.
I can't wait. Yes.
Amazing.
So many big things in the pipeline.
So much happening. It's exciting. Thank you for being here, Amy. Thanks for listening. If you found value in today's episode, please give us a like, share, comment, rate, and review.